Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Sir, we dismissals ni layoffs. Last week you can want them, and Mika say if sir appointments a year immediately after the MPP lost power, no, then there are many questions to be answered. And I spoke from my analysis was founded on two legs. Nedi Kain, the economic cost that such employment and as such letters na yedima nkrofunu would generate, and the second is procedurally no nyomu ye na no kwanso anu na na say enye no kwanso. Oh, and I went ahead to advocate say, look, yen share cases no, yen share dismissals on case by case basis. Ebi oha they have merit. Esan say ebi process no start here no na 6 months aba, but it just happened say the letters came after the election. Oh, and government is a continuum. Government is always in motion. Untimi nka say government must stop working because we have gone into an election and a particular political party has lost. Inti aban nyene ejuma. Obi a we win, like who was going through a recruitment process. We bibia and aka say ebe man letter. And you know, jam logging is a permanent feature of civil service bureaucracy. I mean, obia anybody who has had a stint with either sociology or political science will tell you that one of the features of bureaucracies is that there is a great deal of red tape. Obiwa ye interview natural letter no, it will take Nipano forever to write. Until Amika said the case must be looked at, and the dismissals no must be looked at from the point of view of who deserves to actually be let go and who deserves to be considered. But I feel say majority of Nkrofo esi omunko fie me patch those who had their letters after the 7th December no. These are people who were beneficiaries of mass recruitment. And idea it's become a subculture in our politics. Anytime a party be losing elections, which means there's going to be a new administration. No much that recruiting be last minute. No, what you do is you are incurring cost and you are generating cost for the incoming administration, which cost the incoming administration has no clue how to shoulder. What has here? Until I say share a whole year, say deliberately no, you lose election. Nah, shada I got creative problems for the incoming administration. And ebimuya sa because they feel say opposition are yekui. There will be backlash. People will be called out. Fingers will be pointed at them. Crawford say, "Moti honum no kra mo anya recruitment, mo employment kra mo ankritibi." So they do that just so that they can save face when they get into opposition. But I always say, look, you can't employment now. Government is fixated on creating employment only and mostly in the public sector. When we talk about efforts to reduce unemployment now, we're not talking about efforts to increase employment into the public sector. Already it's a huge drag on our finances as an economy. Employment, government's role in the creation of employment is you create that environment that will enable the private sector to do more employment and to do more recruitment. But Ghana had the government scores itself higher points when it comes to employment when it is able to recruit more people into the public sector. That is wrong. Yaka employment creation now, it is not about how many people we have taken to the ministries, departments, or agencies. How many people has the private sector been able to absorb? That is how you measure your success when it comes to employment creation. And employment creation is a function of policy and government regulations. Say, cost of doing business are cost ro. To make sure that businesses are operational cost are cost ro no. Sometimes, and that's why fiscal policy allows government to either engage in tax cuts or sometimes even increase expenditure so that private sector no produce so sometimes when you do that, you inject incomes into the operations of these businesses so they are able to stay afloat and even expand with time. And expansion comes with the need for more factor inputs, especially labor. until they get to employ and all that. But yeah, we mark ourselves and we score ourselves very high points when it comes to employment when we are able to get a lot of people into ministries, departments, and agencies. Until how well have you done with employment? Yes, you can fascinate records na share. Government agencies are required to present names of Nkrofo Omafa in the last period and so on. In the subject period. And no say government has missed it when it even comes to this whole subject matter of creating employment. But like I'm saying, so dismissal see me fuasu in one breath, but like I said, the dismissals and layoffs, should be situated in a certain context. Say why you foul just after 7th year? Not just say it was intentional, but there are people who processes leading to their employment start here na yentu abaye. Those I think abaye to me are considered, and there should also be an audit. There are places are heading Krofoko as our sector no yen Krofo, so it results in duplications. There are people who are supposed, more than Krofumiansa, are supposed to be doing the same function. And let nobody tell me, say, yeah, 24-hour economy. When people are having duplicative functions, not just a 24-hour economy, no, they are running shifts. They be. Ministry, they are supposed to be working at the same time. 5 boy no obia kufi. And the function they are assigned, is a function that one person could have actually even easily performed. But again, me care about the huge burden public sector compensation. I can say the huge burden it places on your economy. No, uko elsewhere, digitalization are key. It is reducing the dependence on even physical presence in some of these agencies to work. What is here? So it tells you say government should be looking at other ways to help the private sector create more employment. Because Uko ministry, see, it is in the days of John Keynes and following the Great Depression. Some of the things we are seeing today were valid because you needed to spare aggregate demand. So government needed to invest a lot more into the economy. And at the point, his suggestion was, so when you let them go and dig pits so that they can get paid and incomes can flow around in the economy. But we are not living in the 1940s, 1930s. Yatraho. And economics has since improved. What is here? And what we need to do is to empower the private sector. And look, when it comes to ideology, between the MPP and the NDC, there's no difference. These are all capitalist entities with different labels. Bakusi me social democracy, but is pure capitalism. What I say, until there is not much difference when it comes to the two in terms of ideology. Until they both believe in the power of capital being in the hands of the private individual. Until why not empower them to create more employment? What I say, and
This FM 104.3. Good to meet you.